Defying all odds, would you believe that a Korean kid started the tech giant Samsung? This is the incredible success story of how a small-town boy from South Korea transformed a humble trading company into the global powerhouse we know today as Samsung. This will be amazing. Our team dug deep into Forbes, New York Times, and Samsung articles to give you this content. You'll be shocked by what we found. So who is this Korean kid that started it all? It all began in 1910 in a small town called Gwiryong, where a boy named Lee Byung-chul was born. Little did anyone know, this boy would one day revolutionize the world of technology. Growing up in the early 20th century, he faced numerous challenges. His family wasn't particularly wealthy, but they valued education and hard work. Lee was a bright student, passionate about learning, and eager to make a mark on the world. At the age of 28, Lee decided to start his own business. But it wasn't in electronics or technology. In fact, he started Samsung on March 1, 1938, as a grocery shop trading business. He began trading noodles and other local items with provinces in China after establishing his firm in Daegu, Korea. The Korean word for 3 stars is the origin of the business name Samsung. Following the Korean War, Lee diversified his company into textiles and established Korea's biggest woolen plant. In an effort to aid his nation's post-war reconstruction, he placed a premium on industry. During that time, his company reaped the rewards of the Korean government's new protectionist policies, which favored the country's huge conglomerates, or chaebol, by limiting their access to outside competitors and making it easier for them to access funding. The business swooped in the late 1950s and bought out 3 major commercial banks in Korea, along with an insurance provider and cement and fertilizer manufacturers. A number of insurance firms, an oil refinery, a nylon manufacturer, and a department store were all bought out by Samsung in the 1960s. In order to stay competitive in the textile sector, the corporation grew its textile manufacturing operations in the 1970s to encompass the entire production cycle, from raw materials to the finished product. Establishments of new subsidiaries were Samsung Shipbuilding, Samsung Precision Company, Samsung Techwin, and Samsung Heavy Industries. The heavy, chemical, and petrochemical sectors were all areas of investment for the corporation during this time, which boded well for its future expansion. It was 1969 when Samsung Electronics was born. It started with simple products, black and white televisions, calculators, refrigerators, and air conditioners. But Lee's vision was clear. Samsung was going to lead the way in technology. The business started shipping consumer electronics to other countries in the 1970s. Having purchased a 50% interest in Korea Semiconductor, Samsung had already established itself as a prominent Korean manufacturer by that point. The technological divisions of Samsung experienced tremendous growth in the late 1970s and early 1980s. It all started in 1978 with the formation of an aerospace section, and by 1978 it had split into electronics and semiconductors. In 1985, Samsung Data Systems, now known as Samsung SDS, was founded to meet the increasing demand for system development services among enterprises. This contributed to Samsung's meteoric rise to the top of the IT services industry. In addition to expanding into new areas of technology such as electronics, semiconductors, high polymer chemicals, genetic engineering tools, telecommunications, aircraft, and nanotechnology, Samsung established 2 R&D institutes. Throughout the 1970s and 1980s, Samsung made significant investments in research and development. Lee Byung-chul was determined to make Samsung a leader in semiconductors, a move that would define the company's future. By the late 1980s, Samsung had become one of the largest chip makers in the world. Samsung became unstoppable. It became a global company. After Lee Byung-chul passed away in 1987, his son Lee Kun-hee took over as the leader. Lee Kun-hee continued to oversee electronics after Samsung was divided into 5 firms, while other offspring of Lee Byung-chul ran the other 4. As a result of its monopoly on the South Korean market, Lee Kun-hee believed that Samsung had become smug and was ill-equipped to face competition on a worldwide scale. That famous line, "Change everything but your wife and kids," was his renowned advice to Samsung executives. Employees were required to report mistakes to their superiors as part of Samsung's implementation of what Lee called a new management philosophy. Additionally, it opposed bureaucratic processes, elevated women to high management positions, and prioritized product quality over quantity. In the 1990s, Samsung kept expanding into the worldwide electronics markets, propelled by Lee Kun-hee's cultural shakeup within the corporation. In spite of its achievements, the corporation was plagued by corporate scandals during that time, which included numerous lawsuits alleging patent infringement and bribery. Lee Kun-hee was convicted of bribing Roh Tae-woo, a former president, in 1996 in one such case. His original punishment was 2 years in jail, but the judge mitigated it and he received a pardon in 1997. However, the business persisted in improving both its technology and the quality of its products. As a result, several of its technical products, including semiconductors, computer monitors, and LCD screens, became market leaders on a worldwide scale. In the 2000s, Samsung introduced the Galaxy smartphone series, which became an instant hit and eventually ranked among the world's best-selling devices. Samsung, a global leader in microprocessor manufacturing in the late 20th and early 21st centuries, also provided the chips for the first iPhone models made by Apple. It has been the best-selling TV manufacturer in the world since 2006. The Galaxy series began with the Galaxy Tab in 2010 and later expanded to include tablet PCs and smartwatches with the Galaxy Gear in 2013. In 2019, Samsung unveiled the Galaxy Fold, a foldable smartphone. It wasn't all success for the new CEO. Challenges came pouring. Lee stepped down as chairman of Samsung not long after being indicted in April 2008 on conspiracy allegations involving tax evasion and breach of trust. Following his July conviction for tax evasion, he received a sentence of 3 years with a suspended term and a fine of about $80 million. In December 2009, the South Korean government pardoned Lee, allowing him to continue serving on the International Olympic Committee and spearhead South Korea's successful application to host the 2018 Winter Olympics at Pyeongchang. Lee Kun-hee was appointed CEO of the division in March 2010 by executives of the Samsung Group. He took up his position as chairman of the Samsung Group again later that year, but a heart attack in 2014 rendered him unable to work until his death in 2020. The son of Lee, Lee Jae-yong, also known as J.Y. Lee, became the CEO of the Samsung Group. Lee Jae-yong was found guilty of bribing Park Geun-hye and received a jail sentence in 2017. He was granted early release in 2018 after serving his 1-year suspended sentence. He spent January through August 2021 behind bars before being released on parole when his ban was reversed. 2, and subsequently 3, co-chief executive officers oversaw Samsung while Lee was behind bars. Financial offenses arising from the merging of 2 Samsung businesses in 2015 led to Lee's indictment in 2020. The government claimed that after Lee became CEO of Samsung, he used his influence to solidify control over the company by inflating the values of his 2 businesses. From a grocery shop trading business, how much is Samsung worth now? With an estimated yearly revenue of $250 billion and a net worth of about $550 billion, Samsung is among the top 10 biggest firms in the world. They demonstrated its considerable financial performance in 2020 with revenues of $293 billion. It is worth mentioning that Samsung is also part of the world's biggest oil and gas project. Furthermore, it has already been stated that it is the largest smartphone producer in the world. As one of the world's biggest patent holding firms, Samsung boasts an astounding portfolio of 330,000 patents. In addition to being one of the biggest software corporations in the world, it is also one of the top 10 biggest enterprises in Asia and South Korea. Also, because of how well business does, Samsung is a major contributor to South Korea's GDP. The Galaxy series of smartphones made by Samsung is now the best-selling smartphone series in the world, but its feature phone is still the best-selling phone in the world. As the first business to produce a CDMA phone, Samsung's pioneering spirit is clearly on display. Consistently releasing innovative products that enthralled consumers, Samsung swiftly became a formidable competitor in the consumer electronics arena. The dedication to innovation and quality that Samsung displayed throughout its history, from its early ventures into home appliances and televisions to its groundbreaking work in mobile devices, was consistent. So the next time you pick up your smartphone, remember the story of Lee Byung-chul, a story of ambition, resilience, and the incredible power of a dream. We hope you like this video. If you like this celebrity luxury content, click on the next video to explore our next featured celebrities luxury.